So today's episode of Shift My Plus Catalyst Conversations carries like very special feminine soft yin vibe. Because with me, I have Camille, who I know through the yoga circles, through 5 minutes of love. And she's the person who really embodies this softness, yin personality, and also connecting to yourself through love. I guess we're going to talk about love today. We're going to talk about connect yourself today and how to transform more into this person and be more into the flow of love. But just to get everything started, because this podcast is about transformation. So maybe I can share like some recent or maybe some another big massive shift that has happened in your life. And how did you get into that point to change something?
Yeah, I think I've had many moments in my life that have led to a progressive shift, but I'd say there's been a few moments of kind of death and rebirth. And maybe the first one was really when I realized that what I was striving for in the business world in my career was like big title, salary, managing a big team. And at one point in this journey, I was actually told that my softness and my voice were a problem and were the main blocks to reaching that. Thankfully, through making some changes of employers and actually just continuing to build on my confidence and my self-worth, I managed to reach the levels that I set myself to reach within a couple of years after that. But I also realized as I transitioned in parallel into so I did a yoga teacher training and I realized the power of my voice, the power of my presence is actually because of its softness.
So you were actually in the corporate world doing more like a masculine kind of career, climbing very
Exactly.
high. And at the same time, for some reason, discovered yoga and the softness and the presence. How did you even get into this yoga space, for example?
Yeah. I signed up. My first ever yoga class was actually like back in Australia. I was doing an internship in marketing and I was helping coordinate the Body and Soul Festival. And I did my first ever yoga class there. And I realized, oh, actually, this is really easy for me. But then I didn't do it for another 2 years. And then I signed up as I was going through a tough time in my relationship and I was partying it out. And then suddenly I was like, let's just sign up to this yoga thing again and then get into it. And I realized that that was the one practice I always came back to, always found like I could connect to my body, to my mind. It would really bring me something that no other practice would bring me. And that was this sense of stillness, this sense of awareness, and this sense of perspective on life. So I was no longer reacting to things or feeling like the victim of what was happening. I was like, oh, actually, the more I step on the mat, the more distance I can take between me and the things, and I can then act from a place of discernment as opposed to react.
So what kind of yoga?
So I first got into Hatha yoga, vinyasa, did a lot of power yoga, rocket, especially in London because rocket yoga was still quite
Kind
masculine
of
in
like
a
more
way.
physical type of yoga.
Exactly, exactly. And then again, did my first yin yoga class, was a bit disappointed because I was expecting more movement. This is boring. And yeah, progressively, I then decided between after the difficult job, let's say, I decided to do yoga teacher training just in my practice. And I realized that, oh, guiding a yoga nidra, which is like
This is a sleep yoga. Yeah, I've
yeah,
been in your yoga leader class as well.
exactly. And that's when a few of the other teachers in training were like, oh, wow, your voice is really powerful for that type of yoga.
So yeah.
Mm, yeah. And it's like, I was like, okay. So then I started giving yoga classes at the office and my job after that. And I decided to start guiding meditation. The thing that happens when I get meditation is I don't script. I have an idea more or less of what I will talk about. But then when I close my eyes and my voice starts flowing, it takes me on a journey just as much as it takes other people on a journey.
Wow. And how did people receive that kind of yoga in the corporate setting of London?
Really well, to be honest. I think I was offering it for free because I was like, well, I'm just playing and trying it out. And because it was just before COVID and then during COVID, I continued online. Even though for me personally, COVID was good and bad in some ways. I think like everyone, it was quite a traumatic moment. And sometimes I was deep in a dark hole of myself. But I didn't realize that through the yoga and meditation that I had shared before, or even during that time, that I was actually helping others through that tough time. And I've had that feedback in the
That's
recent
also
work.
like a period of transformation for many people because life changing something intense. Like
Yeah,
for you, yoga was supporting and actually not only doing it for yourself, but doing it for other people. This was supporting you go through this kind of complicated time in our history.
exactly. Yeah, 100%. And I think for those people that what they've come back to me with and what almost shocks me with hear that how much of a pillar it was during this time for them. And it was definitely the beginning of my transformation because the more I connected to that, the more I thought this is why I'm here. Like my career is great. I love everything that I've worked within that and I still get involved in some projects. But the real work is on the human level, the stuff that I will remember on my deathbed, all those
It's
practices.
kind of like the career gives you this the stability, the structure, this masculine support and safety net.
Yeah,
And then you can flow in this with a very soft version of yoga.
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
It's a nice combo of masculine and feminine already in your life.
Yeah, it is. And I think it takes time to step into that. And I think also, I got seasonal experience in marketing, email marketing, customer data, all of that. And it's definitely for me, like in the creation of my more esoteric business, I kind of refuse to apply all of this because I want to guide this business from a more intuitive feminine and not so much applying the strategies, the goals, and really tuning into my intuition and my heart space. What sits well with me? What is in alignment with my values, with the values that I want to, of the world that I want to create, of the world that I want to share.
Hmm. And nowadays, yoga is your main thing that you're doing, or what is your life like?
So I'm doing a little bit of consulting at the moment and I'm creating, I'd say yoga is a part of it. I was just in Portugal last week and I was guiding some yoga practices in the morning. I call it elemental flow because I like to weave in the elements throughout the practice. But really, yoga nidra is also a really big one that I'm such a firm believer in and love to share. I'd say I trained more recently. So 2 years ago, I started my breathwork training. So I'm now guide like 2 hour long breathwork ceremonies. And I also trained in Reiki and I also created this cycles alchemy program. So for the 4 weeks to guide women to reconnecting to our womb, like each of the stages of the cycle and finding this as a place of empowerment, using our cycle as a power as opposed to that thing.
Yeah, this is so much. 'Cause this is something
Mhm.
that we have as women anyway, and
Yeah,
you make it into something strong and powerful, not like suffering that women go through every single month.
exactly. And actually, we normalize pain, but pain really not something that you're part of our day to day or that we even accept as normal or, and it's, I think the world that we live in is very much wanting us to be linear, to be always productive, always like this. But it's like as women, we go through each full season every month.
Transformation like every month. So
Exactly.
we're shifting every month, they're going through the cycle.
Yeah,
And like we talked before, there's always like the end, but the end is always like a new beginning. The cycle repeats.
exactly. And it's not like, oh, this is the end and then this is the beginning. It's always merging.
Yeah.
So the first day of the cycle of the period is the beginning of the new cycle, but it's also the end of the other because we're shedding. And through that shedding, it's an opportunity to allow a part of ourselves to die, allow a part of ourselves, like maybe old habits we want to leave behind, or maybe giving birth to a new project or a new intention. We don't need to wait for the new year. We don't need to wait for spring. We have a spring every month that's happening. And at the same time, also honoring that we have a winter. It doesn't mean we have to still every time we have a period, but each of those stages are going to give us a little nugget, a little bit of wisdom and something we can use or work with or suffer from.
It's a choice whether you're gonna live in this or you will suffer from it
Yeah,
or kind of make it work for you and honor what is going through and also the emotions and the mind is going through some stuff
yeah,
as well.
exactly. And I think, the luteal phase, which is the phase before the period, is often the phase that we dread the most, because that's when the self-doubt comes up to the surface, gets a bit louder, and that's when maybe we feel a bit more antisocial. That's when some of us experience just different symptoms.
Cravings for sweets and
Yeah,
carbohydrates.
that's it.
I know.
And that's because we're actually craving more yin. Carbohydrates is yin.
Yeah.
And so in a way, this is kind of a gift, right? Because if we think our thoughts, our doubt, they control our reality. And so the more we're afraid of something not happening or happening, or the more we doubt ourselves, the less we're able to actually go out there and be who we want to be or create what we want to create. But then that with your faith is almost like a deep opening of all of that, and all of that rises up to the surface. And it's scary and it's paralyzing. And I go through it every month as well. But then I remind myself, oh, it's a gift, because those are the very thoughts that aren't going to be able to control me in the next cycle, because I've already dealt with them.
And it also means if you had this cycle and period, it means you are fertile and you had the ability to give life.
Yeah, exactly. And so optimizing this cycle, or like utilizing our cycle, it can be utilized to connect with our creative and our fertility and creativity, our links, our sacral chakra to our womb. And as womb holders, we have a portal in that. We have a portal of creation, almost like this void of anything is possible, really. And I think men and women both have imaginative and creative powers. And as women, we often see the potential of a situation, of a person, of a relationship, and we are very creative in that, because we are able to give birth to life or to a new project. And actually, each cycle could be a way of giving birth to a new project. And in the same way that we can work with the moon, with the new moon and the full moon, and in the same way that we can work with the season.
Oh.
Yeah.
So how would you work with the moon? What would you
So-
do at new moon, full moon?
Yeah. So the new moon it corresponds a little bit to the first day of the period. When we talk about the moon is dark in the skies, a little bit like one slate. And so we can use it to set new intentions. And not just intentions for this moon cycle, because the new moon, so we have a new moon in Aries coming up in a week. We had a full moon in Virgo last week. But between the new moon and the full moon, there's only a 2-week period, which you can work within that 2-week period. But the interesting thing to do is to set intentions for the next 6 months. Because by the time the moon is high in the sky, you're going to see maybe some of the intentions you've set, or, that are going to maybe meet closer to completion. And the interesting thing is each moon is in a different sign of the zodiac each time. Sometimes when there's two moons in the same sign, two full moons in the same sign, that's why blue moon comes from that. And so, for example, the full moon in Virgo is quite complex, and I'm not a professional astrologer, but I'm very interested in astrology. And Virgo is a sign that is very earth. It's a sign that is about material possessions, that is about being organized, micromanagement, perfectionism on the shadow side. But it's also a very caring sign. So when we set intentions, also it's like maybe thinking about it from that lens of this sign that the moon is in. And when the moon is full, it's all about celebrating. So from new moon to full moon, we're working our way towards our projects, and then it's like celebrating the accomplishment. And after the full moon, then it's about letting go. And it doesn't mean stopping all activity. It doesn't mean whatever it means actually to do, but then it's like, or maybe reviewing everything that I've achieved up until now this month, and then streamlining, letting go, reassessing for the next cycle.
Because yeah, you're finishing one thing, but it also means you're making space for something new to come in. It's not like, okay, maybe you have this little bit of grief. Okay, yeah, I'm letting go. This is finishing. This is ending. It's going out of my life. But actually, maybe the new thing that starts, it's also coming from the thing that I just finished.
Yeah.
So everything is, again, cyclical.
Exactly. And if we look at nature, for instance, the trees in autumn, they shed all the leaves. They shed all the leaves, they strengthen their force. They just, they concentrate their force inside into the slab. And then in winter, they start growing roots deep in the ground. They remineralize, they draw in all the waters from the earth, but they draw in the water element from the earth to bring in all the strength that they will need for the new season. spring. So that's why, for example, in traditional Chinese medicine, that water element in winter linked to the kidney system, which again is linked to sex, all super connected. And when we come to spring, which is the season we're in, then it's all about growing new wood. But we had to let go of those leaves to grow new wood, right? We had to let go of the leaves to survive winter, to grow in roots that are deeper in the ground, to do all the root work and all of that. Maybe let go of some branches, let go of some roots, and just concentrate on what really matters before we grow new branches.
Yeah, that's beautiful. The metaphor of tree as well. We are shedding old stuff, old habits. And yeah, you already started mentioning some resistance and maybe we don't want to let go. So if you have some kind of limited blocks, beliefs, resistance, how do you work around it?
Yeah. I mean, the main goal of my practice is always return to the heart, because for me, the heart space is my anchor. The heart is like, for me, it's a portal, right? If I stay too much in the mind, and believe me, I can be very much in the mind. I'm a very analytical person and I can mentalize everything really a lot. I'm in the doubt. I'm in the fear. Why am I here? Why am I not there already? Why did I give up all of this? You know, there's a lot of ego that has to let go of. And at the same time, the ego is here to protect me. But when I drop into the heart, when I regulate through meditation, through breathwork, through journaling, I can really return to this place of trusting. When I let go of the knowing, I'm like, oh, I know that I'm supposed to be here. And there's often a conflict, right? Of, but I need to know where this is going. And
Yeah, I see. You kind of want to like surrender into the flow, but then again, you're like, okay, come on, universe, how much longer? How much more? I know that feeling. It's also happening to me. It's some days I'm like, hey, I want to surrender, divine diving, I trust. And the next day I'm like, come on.
yeah, bring the signs already.
Yeah, it's like, I already surrendered. Can't you see? Bring me something. Like, little bit, some kind of sliver of hope, something. And so I can keep believing that yes, everything is waiting for me and through me as well.
Yeah. And I think sometimes we forget, actually, because all the signs have already been given, or they are being given. And we forget. And I even had this conversation with a friend where I was like, oh, yeah, I did this ceremony for this corporate, like big company. And she's like, that's amazing. You're doing this. You're getting paid to create a ceremony for a group of people at work. And can you believe what you're doing? And I'm like, yeah, but it doesn't count because it's an old colleague. And she's like, it doesn't matter. You're doing it. You know,
it still counts.
Yeah. So yeah, I can be very self-critical. Like, okay, yeah, this is great, but I'm already looking to the next.
Yeah, it was cool, but okay, what's next? I know I'm the same. Because even like I have a friend telling me, "Oh my God, you're successful. You're doing all these things." I'm like, "What do you mean successful? I don't see that."
Yeah,
But when I'm like, I'm like, for me, this is already like the past. My mind is already somewhere in the future. Wants to do bigger things. I'm like, what do you mean? But if I like maybe go back in time and start writing down, okay, even what I did like past 3 months, I'm like, oh, that's a lot. Okay, okay. But we don't realize because we don't see ourselves.
Yeah. And it's also the world we live in, right? The world we live in is always like, what's coming next? What's coming next? More. Very linear thinking. And yeah, look at what everyone else is doing. And almost, I think that what I'm seeing as well in the world is like, it's all about numbers. And when I look at what most people are writing about, or what I feel like a lot of people are interested in, is how can I make money fast? Or how can I make money? It's all about this.
5K in 90 days and that's all that. Yeah. 10K months.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, don't get me wrong. I think money is good and it's important to have a comfortable life. But then again, that concept of comfortable life is subjective, but it's just a means. Like, we're going to die without, not going to matter how much money we've made in our life. What's going to matter is maybe how much we've loved, or how much people have been touched by your presence. And then at the end of the day, yeah, like, what's our legacy? Our legacy is more energetic. Maybe there is no legacy and none of this at the end of the day.
Yeah, I like the idea of legacy. I'm always thinking, okay, what's my potential? What's my purpose? Because I have always felt that I want to do something bigger. I want to have an impact. I don't want to just have a 9 to 5 job, which I haven't had for a while. and just go home and watch Netflix and watch TV and just, I don't want to have this normal life. I want to have bigger impact. And I've always had this urge, even when I was a child, okay, I want to do something, I want to be out there. So let us see. Yeah, this really resonates with me.
Yeah.
And it's not because I just want to be validated by something external. It's more like I cannot not do it. It's just so,
Yeah.
so this is bringing me into action. It's like,
Yeah.
I just want to do it. Even like this podcast, I feel I really want to do it. I don't get paid for this. Like, I'm like,
Yeah.
I get to speak to so many cool, inspiring people like you. I just want to do it because it's exciting for me. It's filling my cup.
Yeah.
And you never know where it might lead.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think on this subject of purpose, I think a lot of people search for that purpose externally. But it's like, look at who you are, even if you're in a 9 to 5 job, even if you have a really normal life, whatever that, but it's like the person you are in your day to day, that's your purpose.
How do you want to feel?
Yeah. And also,
Inside.
who are you? What are you bringing to the world just by being you? That's your purpose. There's no need to search for it even further. Or sometimes it's like, who were you when you were a little child before you started being conditioned? Like, what did you used to do? And, reconnecting with that. It doesn't mean that because you were playing at being a teacher, you're going to be a teacher. But it's like, just reconnecting with that innocence, almost that limitless thinking, right?
Amazing. So coming to this 5 minutes of love, I know this is a project of yours.
Yes.
And it also had an anniversary, 1 year.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about it. What's the idea behind it? Yeah, how can you use it?
So, I mean, for as long as I remember, always like bought jewelry with heart and love, and I've been attracted to that, and or stars and moons and all of that. But just that's always been part of my
Even before you
words.
were like consciously into astrology.
Yes. Yeah. Interesting. Like this. Yeah. That's a lot as well. What happened is I was meditating on Papa Martin, and I wanted to simplify what I do because my brand was Elemental Longevity, and I believe in building longevity through nutrition, yoga, and breathwork, living in the element, and understand that we are the element, the world is the element, and any change in season or lifestyle is a change of elements. So it's almost like a code. And then by knowing that, you can return to balance, cracking the code like through the elements. Like this is all too complicated. No one gets it. No one seems to understand it. And maybe I need to simplify it. Then I sat and meditated and I just allowed all of the past to dissolve. And I'm like, if I empty myself and let the universe, one of my units, what happens? Who am I? And all I felt was like, I am awareness, I am love, I am awareness, I am love, I am awareness, I am love. And that just played and that repeated in my mind. And suddenly I was like, felt my heart beating super loud. And I was like, wow, what would happen if the whole world stopped and connected with their heart? Just for 5 minutes. What if everyone connected with their heart for 5 minutes and activated this frequency of love? Because it's really here. It doesn't come from someone or something or an accomplishment. It's really always here. If we make space for it, how would the world behave if we all connected to that source? What would we actually do after that? What would happen? Would the plants just start flourishing? What would the frequency of that create? Would we shift the frequency of the earth just by getting enough people connecting with the heart? And then I decided, okay, I'm going to organize my first connected meditation online. And then that evolved into a monthly, a weekly. And I created the 14 Days of Love program because I was going through a big transition. I was like, I need an anchor. So I need to meditate every day. So I decided to create this group and meditate and reflect on love. What is love? It's the way I feel. It's the way that I relate to others. How do I connect with my heart? How do I connect with my head? How do I marry the two instead of having them fighting or just having this one rule? And yeah, so that project shifted a lot in the last year. And I celebrated the 1 year, in Barcelona as well. It was incredible. And I just wanted to create a space where we could connect with love through art, through writing, through a heartbeat workshop, through music, and through just being in a soft space, really. And to be honest, Like, I believe that whatever's going on in the world, in this world of chaos, which is ridden by fear, and everywhere we look at in the news, there's always something reminding us, like, life isn't stable, it's not limited, and there's a lot of uncertainty, and we feel like we don't have control. But it's like when we slow down and tune into the heart, like, we realize just how much control we have of our life, like how we can create from that place of heart and we can create from that place of fear. And I myself pursue that journey every day. Yeah, even with this project, been a bit on, not on pause, I've been feeling it through really observing where I want to take it next. How is I want to evolve it. I don't want to stop it. I don't want to pause, but I don't want to just do it for the sake of doing.
So how does even like this 5 minutes for love, one session look like? What do you
Mm.
do in these 5 minutes?
So first, I mean, again, as I said, with the guided visualization, I don't necessarily script it, but the process for me is always clear energetically this way. So there's always like a bringing the energy down into the earth, anchoring the earth, bringing it out the earth, so finding the anchor, and then through a visualization, that connecting with the heart, usually anchoring into the heart, doing some breath as well in order to regulate, to reconnect the breath, reconnecting to the heart. And then it's a visual journey. So it can following, the expansion and contraction of the heart and following that and just visualizing that, or visualizing the expansion contraction of everyone, of all the beings and the plants and like in the universe is kind of contracted. So it's like a way of really connecting us back to that core. And then again, returning into the heart, recollecting a memory of gratitude, of love, of joy, and allowing that to spread through the body. And really, again, through visuals, but through that sensation, spread that within the body and then share that. Always pause and say, if your cup feels full, if you feel like you've got enough for yourself and you've got an overflowing of love, then share it. But if you don't, feel free to stop there.
What starts with you?
Exactly.
And all this happens in 5 minutes.
Yes.
It's like a lot of stuff happening there.
Yeah.
But 5 minutes is enough, right?
Yeah.
And you don't need to have 1 hour meditation and connecting. The 5 minutes, everybody has 5 minutes.
Exactly. That's the idea. And the idea maybe is repetition and also understanding it's not just about regulating my nervous system and feeling calm. It's like, I want to optimize my day. I want to make sure that I'm equipped to step into the heart frequency and not the fear frequency. And so it's like, yeah,
This is something that you do every day. You wake up and you do it because you want to be in this regulated hot space.
yeah, or at different times of the day, right? Maybe halfway through the day, okay, I need to like have a break and return to the hot space. Or I know that something big is about to happen, or I have a difficult phone call, or I've got this confrontation. How do I return into the hot space? The way I see it really working, and I've done it once at an event where I did the person who was presenting at the event to I didn't love for the event. And then at the end, she was like, you want for the audience as well. And then that just brought everyone into presence. Really, I talk about the heart, but it's just bringing back into the body, into presence, into the moment. Because quite often we come with dispersed energy into a space, like a conference or a concert even. And I was speaking to an artist last week about how cool it would be to collaborate with artists, to actually bring that before a gig. Because usually when an artist comes on stage, the energy is a bit dispersed. It's about 2 songs to warm up the crowd. But with a 5 minutes for love, it could just bring everyone into this bubble of love and like heart open space where actually they can fully receive what's on next.
I feel that this would work with when it's more like this melodic kind of music, or would it also work with, okay, it's like heavy metal rock concert, you bring people together, or
I would love to do a heavy metal rock concert, or even a DJ set. No, it's like in a club environment.
have more consciousness
Yeah, exactly.
in places where you usually don't see that kind of approach.
That's exactly it. Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly it.
So this is also something that you're doing, right, for the corporate and for big events.
Exactly, that's the vision of bringing that into corporate civic events and as also solutions that can be integrated into the day-to-day of the employees. So, for example, if it's someone that's sitting at their desk and they have a lot of sales calls, they know they're going to have enough sales calls, maybe doing 5 minutes of breath to build up energy, right? It can just be breath, doesn't need to be visualization, whatever is needed in that present moment before a conflict resolution or before a big presentation, right? You need to like build up your confidence through visualization. You can make sure that that is happening in a more flowy way.
Yeah. So how are people in corporate receiving that? You are coming from the corporate background. You know
Yeah.
how people are there. You're not just rather like yoga guru, spiritual, movement stuff. Like you're coming from that background. So you actually
Yeah.
also know that this is needed in these environments. How
Yes.
people receive it.
I think there's definitely still a lot of opportunity because at the moment, so I see in corporate wellness, there's mental health support that's being more developed. There's a lot of workshops which are working, but it's like these tools are often, let's say, they're either not used so much by the employees because when the employees at work, I'd rather just get through my to-do list and I'll think about my mental health when I get home or at the weekend.
Or maybe not.
Or maybe not.
Yeah.
Or, yes, this workshop was great. We had a big team meeting with team building for 2 hours or half a day. But then how does that get integrated into the day to day? And the idea with this solution is like, well, that's just a tool. So in the same way someone goes to get themselves a coffee, maybe they just press, okay, let me listen to this for 5 minutes, or they go for a walk. They do it again. We don't necessarily all do that, but I know that for businesses, the key is how is that going to optimize my revenue? How it's going to impact my bottom line? And it's like, well, someone who's paralyzed by fear, self-doubt, imposter syndrome, comparison, is going to be contracted. It's going to be doing, but from a place of uncertainty and not necessarily performing or making mistakes. That's a cost to the business. Or they get to a point where they have to take on sick leave or they leave the business. That's a cost to the business. When you have people that are in their most embodied energy and it starts from the top, you have to have the whole leadership team actually embodying that before anyone else in the team does it as well. Because once everyone in the team knows, oh, that's a cool thing to do. Okay, I can take 5 minutes and close my eyes before the thing. It's like they know that that's okay. And someone who is a lot more embodied, a lot more in their center, a lot more present, really, they're going to be more focused. They're going to be more creative. They're going to be more collaborative. They're going to have better presentation skills and they're going to be able to come up with better ideas as well, problem solving skills and all of that. So it does lead to more innovation, more money, more efficiency.
It starts on the top,
Mm,
like with a leading example of the CEO or somebody in the management. Then it goes like spreads out.
exactly. Yeah.
And I guess, yeah, when you talk about results productivity, you're also talking in the language of business and the corporate world. So
Yeah.
yeah, I feel that this can work
Yeah.
before, but yeah, this increases the productivity and the results, the profit revenue. Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me more about it. It's like come and do a workshop for us and teach everybody.
Yeah.
And 5 minutes is not even like this massive tool. And I
Yeah.
guess it's also like easy to learn.
Yeah. Exactly. So it's just making that resource available and making it a bit about what problems are we solving with each one or what are we optimizing.
Yeah,
So
so
yeah.
that's like one of the transformations that they're bringing people in
Yeah.
business world and like everywhere.
Exactly.
I also know that you focus on like food, nutrition.
Yeah.
Could maybe tell us a little bit more about this. How can people support themselves
Yeah.
by choosing nutrition that is basically for their diet, I guess?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
everybody has different needs. It's not like one diet fits everybody. I'm also a nutritionist as a background.
Yeah.
And I see that there's like no one diet that is suitable for everybody, but there is a diet that is suitable for you, but it's also up to you to find it out.
Exactly.
How do you guide people through
Yeah.
nutrition choices? What is your approach?
Yeah. So the first step is observing. So observing what do you eat on a weekly, on over 4 weeks. Although for women, we should do it over 4 weeks because at each stage of the cycle, it's going to be a little different. But even just starting with 1 week, observing what do I eat? how do I feel before I eat and how do I feel after? Because then it forces us to reconnect with our body. It forces us to realize, so on the food energetic point of view, from a food energetic point of view, certain foods are going to have a cooling effect, others heating. As you said, some people will have a really strong digestive fires, others not. People will have a tendency to always be cold, others will have a tendency to always be warm. And so it's about understanding your body, what are your body's needs, and then adapting to that. And I think also understanding what's happening outside the season, right? So, for example, having lots of salads in winter doesn't make so much sense in Europe in general because it's not so hot outside and our digestive fires and lower in winter. So actually we need to eat warmer food. Something very typical, I think, for a lot of female friends I have, they have a lot of bloating symptoms and they will go and just remove all grain because, like grains like quinoa or lentils or oats, they say that create that wind symptom. But it's like, okay, actually soaking your grain and your oats with a little bit of vinegar in water before you cook it, whether it's overnight or a few hours, that's going to start the fermentation process.
That's new, like with vinegar. I know about soaking, but
Or with
I think vinegar.
Yeah.
That's something new. So you add like little bit, like
A little bit.
apple cider
apple
vinegar.
cider vinegar or a bit of lemon. Yeah, exactly. In your oats, that really makes a big difference because that means instead of being digested partially and then hitting your intestine and then fermenting in there, which is what creates bloating, it's pre-digested before you eat it. You have access to the full nutrients. And yeah, so it's understanding, okay, in certain seasons, certain foods are going to suit me, others not so much. And also listening more to our cravings, but also, is it my mind craving it or is it my body craving?
It's like the emotions craving for some kind of soothing and suffocating.
Yeah, which is, it's fine. Like I was sharing with you, like I go through also with age, like my body's changing and my needs are shifting. If I'm moving around a lot, that's a lack of earth energy. So then my body's going to need more earth, more weight, feel centered and grounded, protect myself, right? Someone who has a lot of fire energy, which can be seen in many symptoms, will need to find a way to cool down or like evacuate the extra heat, right? And neutralize that. So I think I always like somewhere, but I always think of the health as a pendulum. And it's like once we find what our center looks like, we're never going to be exactly in our center. We know, okay, what shifts it one way, what shifts in another. Sometimes a lot of traveling shift. Sometimes the season change shift. Sometimes something happened that is traumatic and that shifts our whole balance. Yeah, I know how I can make them to closer to the center.
Yeah. So the different types, you already mentioned earth, fire, what else is there? Water?
Water. Yeah.
Yeah. And how do you know which one you are?
So, I mean, there are tests out there. So this is like the Ayurveda approach.
Like the Pitta Kappa, Vata.
Exactly. So Vata is air and ether, and Pitta is water and fire, and then Kapha is earth and water. And then there's a traditional Chinese medicine. And so it's pretty much the same, like excess yin deficient, excess yang, moderate yang. Also, you have some tests available online to know. You can know based on kind of body shape, the texture of your skin, of your hair. And we're never just one or the other. We're always a combination of those. So then it's knowing, okay, within this triangle of Vata, Kapha, am I right in the center or am I more Vata with a bit of Pitta or am I just Kapha? It's kind of,
I guess I'm like mostly Kappa, but I also have a little bit of Pitta in some ways.
Yeah.
So it's like at some point I thought that I was only Kappa, but now actually there are like some Pitta as well.
Definitely have Pitta as well. Yeah.
But Vata I can't see because Vata is like this airy light. I'm like, no, I'm not.
It's nice because there's often one that we identify with a lot more than the other. And yet we still have a little bit of those elements, right? Because air, so creativity and lots of ideas.
Actually, I do have that a lot.
Exactly.
But so in the body, when it's like for the body level, I don't see myself as Vata.
Yeah. Makes sense. And so the way that would translate then is that with Kapha Pitta, you want to stimulate, to stimulate the digestion for Kapha, you want more So someone with vata will have more oily food and sometimes more like dense food. One with kapha will need more lighter food. And it doesn't need to balance, but it's like more heavily on the greens and always making sure it's cooked. Maybe adding a bit of spices to help with the digestion. The digestion is too slow, but then you don't want to exacerbate it as well because the spices and the heat is what can exacerbate that. But it's always finding a balance, all of those. And with someone who's kappa, then yeah, doing more exercise is super important. Which you already do a lot.
Yeah,
So
I love exercise.
yeah,
I love. I just my body just loves to move, and if I have to stay away from the gym for some reason, I'm like kind of start itching and start. Okay, I need to go. I want to
it's
go.
the pitta in you.
Like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Definitely.
the inside. So it's not only about the body; it's also about the personality.
Exactly.
In some ways.
Yeah, exactly. The pitta people will be more competitive, more like
Oh yeah.
forward going and always, you give something to a pitta person, that's going to get done. Someone who's vata is going to have lots of ideas, that lots of things, but not necessarily to bring them to completion. And someone who's kapha on the personality level will be more slow, progressive, but dwelling in art, maybe holding on to things like nostalgic, that, yeah. And I think again, we can all find ourselves in all of them sometimes, maybe at each time of the month, depending on the phase of our cycle or phase of our lives, or even so. Yeah, for someone who's kapha, winter is going to be exacerbating. They're always quite slow, being, very kind of person. And so doing more pitta activity is going to help them with that. Someone who's pitta is going to tend to have more inflammation in summer because it's hot. So they're going to get like maybe more rashes or maybe even digest.
And they're always like sweating a lot anyway.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I can see that. I don't sweat a lot, so there's definitely kappa. I have like more strong and big body. I also do heavy stuff. But in terms of like the energy, how I do stuff, it's more like pitta.
Yeah.
So does it change throughout the life?
Yeah, it does. Does. And typically each stage of life is a little bit different, right? So the most gross first part of the life is more kappa. Well, it depends on how we're looking at it. But if you look at people at the end of their life, they're very vata. They're like there's metabolism is slowing down, so it can be kappa in a way, but they're also like connecting more to spirituality and a lot of older people are definitely very, very slim. They don't need so much food. They're very
They're getting very light at some point.
exactly. But then if you look at it from a maybe digestion point of view, digestion is slower, then metabolism is slower.
More
So
like
more
kappa.
kappa. Exactly.
Yeah, how did you discover this system for yourself? Was it from a need, or was it like, okay, I'm just interested in it?
Yeah. So when I just after I turned 30, I decided to stop the pill because I wanted to optimize my fertility. I was like, one day I want children, so I want to stop the pill now. And I decided to do a 1 week detox or whatever. And then I started looking into it. I don't want to do a juice. That's like, and then I found this Ayurveda 3 month Panchakarma with an Ayurvedic doctor in Melbourne. It was long. And so I signed up and I went for my first visit and I discovered the world of Ayurveda. I knew nothing about it. I hadn't done my teacher training at that point. And yeah, it just all made a lot of sense. And at the time, I was eating salad, I was eating meat, and meat isn't bad, of course, but it's like for me as Vata Kappa actually, the salads were really draining my digestion. They're slowing it down. Meat was also very heavy on my body. I just couldn't really process it. And although someone who's Vata needs to eat meat because they lose a lot of thing to replenish that meat. But again, you're vegetarian, then there's lots of supplements. And again, I'm actually not meat. I had a choice. But I went through 3 months of just eating a lot of dals, warm, cooked, nourishing food, a lot of kichari, yeah, a lot of soups as well. I mean, it was October, November, so it was like perfect time for it. I stopped alcohol, I stopped bread, all refined sugar. I did a bit of that. I can't give that up ever. But yeah, so I started delving into it. I was working with this Ayurvedic doctor twice a week and learned a lot about Ayurveda. And then I started doing, a friend of mine who's in herbalism, like, let's do workshops together. And we started doing workshops and I hadn't done any training at that. So I was like, it felt like something was flowing actually with it. And then that's when I signed up for my nutrition course, like 1 year.
It's like another
I'm
shift.
nutritionist.
You decided that you want to do something for yourself, for your body, and then you
Yeah,
found like the means how to do that.
exactly.
So Ayurvedic doctor appointments, how do
Yeah.
these look like? I never been to one, so just maybe enlighten me and the
Yeah.
audience.
Yeah. So I like to compare a little bit with traditional Chinese medicine. When you go to an acupuncturist, very similar and different. They ask a lot of questions. They take your pulse, they ask questions about your skin texture, your hair texture, your sleep, the quality of your sleep, the quality of your digestion. They will ask you like, yeah, like how is your cycle? How is your poop? How is your urine? Like, these like very deep questions in traditional Chinese medicine, and they get this holistic profile, right? I'm not saying it's not better than going to a normal doctor, but it's different because it's more preventative and it's really about maybe taking a bit more ownership of your health.
So you go before something is wrong. Go
Yeah.
just out of curiosity, not because you have some kind of pain, but because you just want to elevate and optimize your current state.
Yeah. And actually, well, in that way, you can go to an acupuncturist with an actual problem, with pain or with something that you want to change within your house or optimize or something like this. I see it for me, it's a very intuitive practice, right? And they invite you to connect more with your body as well and to connect more with that inner wisdom because our body's constantly talking to us through pain, through signs, through hunger, through fatigue, and we're just not listening. We're just doing life, doing life, and then we're like doing life until we have to go to the osteopath because our shoulders are all crunched up. Or, as a woman, until we get to our cycle and then our period is really painful because we didn't listen to ourselves last cycle and because we were too stressed and put pressure on ourselves, or we have a lot of water retention, eating a certain type of food, whatever it is.
Yeah, carbohydrates also hold water in the body because I guess 1 gram of carbs is actually holding actually grams of water. So
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. But at the same time, someone who's maybe more vata will need more carbs than someone who's more kapha. And again, there's seasons. And again, times of the cycle where we need more of that. So then with the Ayurvedic consultation, then you do that, you do the test actually. So there's 10 tests you can find online. And usually there's your constitution and your condition. And that's very much traditional Chinese way of thinking as well. It's like, this is my point of center, but right now I'm off center. So if we think from an elemental point of view, I'm out of balance because I have too much vata or too much air, too much anxiety, or too much pitta, too much inflammation, and or too much kapha, too much stagnation. So it's like understanding what's my point of that, and then where I am now, and then with an Ayurvedic doctor, they will maybe do a massage or like a treatment with a special oil to move again the energy within your body.
Yeah.
And for me, then give me a lot of like powders and to ingest and give me a whole protocol. Wake up before sunrise, do this thing, meditate, self massage, scrape your tongue, not in that order, but then start your movement practice, then get to work, and then every lunch was or meal was like more of a like a conscious act there, right? So I went from eating in front of my laptop to actually taking the time in a meeting room. I would like drink the powders before or after my meal, remember, and then in a more conscious way.
Wow. So this really changed your life as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because this interest about the self, and this is also something that about nutrition,
Exactly.
when connected to the cycles for women.
Exactly. So I trained in healing nutrition, so we covered Ayurveda, traditional Chinese medicine, microbiome. And yeah, I create workshops on how to understand your constitution, how to connect with that, and how to support yourself through seasonal shift. We're actually working on a method like free. And then I created a program cycle that can put embodying, connecting with that knowledge of nutrition for each stage of the cycle, understanding what happens from a Western science point of view, from an Ayurveda and point of view, and then connecting through own body inquiry with a dedicated meditation and movement practice and funneling inquiry, as well as nutrition.
Wow. Yeah, alchemy. This sounds very cool. So one thing that I also talk about in this podcast and also like in my work as a clarity catalyst coach, okay, somebody wants to start a shift. They figure out what they want to do. They work on the limiting blocks and beliefs, to work on the mind. How to get from this mindset of, okay, I want to do this, I know what I want to do, how to get from this to action. What is like the shift or like the transformation to get into the action mode from this yin kind of like planning, flowing, creative, and then, okay, masculine and really take a step. How do you do it for yourself?
But it's a combination of things, right? I love how you about the masculine and feminine, because yeah, the feminine is great. And if we think of water, water is very flowy, right? If water doesn't have a riverbed, and
So-
it doesn't flow. It's just
Yeah.
like a puddle. And so, yeah, the coach is like, okay, we need direction. And it doesn't need to be just one direction. And I think this is something that everyone works like as well. Yeah. I think it's okay to create multiple things if that's what you want to do, if you just want to create. I feel like there's a few things, planning, finding your accountability friend. Like I've had many friends along the way where we would have a weekly call and just go through our projects. And it's not even part of the coaching program. Like some people, of course, work with a coach and I think it's for profession to get through maybe some of the downs and me as like a person work with that actually in the same that values the same
It's
thing.
kind of like a mastermind.
Yeah, exactly. With someone that values the same. So if you're, for example, if I'm not a linear person, I don't want to work with a coach that's going to be like every week is the same thing.
Structure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think that's really important. And yeah, what I mentioned before, like visualizing yourself, really doing it, like taking some time to really visualize yourself doing the thing that you want to do and feel it in your body. And also trusting if we have an idea or a project or something that's really calling our heart, it's not by mistake. We often think, oh, I had this great idea. Oh my God, someone else. We're all connected to the same consciousness. So 5 minutes to love is, yeah, that's my creation. But actually, when I started digging into it, the Heart Math Institute, they've been doing that for 30 years. They've been measuring, dropping into cardiac coherence and the impact of that for 30 years. And the impact of global meditations on water. Just like it's not new. Like we often think, oh, this is new. What if it doesn't work? Or what if someone else has done it? None of it is. But if you have an idea or feeling about creating
You put your
something,
own flavor into it.
exactly, it's like you have to do it. It's like almost, I often think of myself, think that to myself. It's like if I'm too much in the doubt and the fear, it's not just a disservice to myself, it's like a service to whoever really needs to hear this.
Yeah, because maybe they just need to hear it from you. They need to hear it with your energy and your vibe and your words.
Yeah.
So yeah, someone else is also doing it, but maybe they're not speaking for that person who needs to hear it from you. There's always like your specific flavor.
Yeah. And one person who needs it more than us, more than the others is ourselves, right?
Yeah. So you're also growing yourself when you're doing something like this for other people.
Yeah.
It's like whatever you're doing, it's also for you. Because when you're teaching, you're the one who learns the most.
Exactly. And so, yeah, so visualizing, what did I say, planning, accountability. I think also asking for help. So that kind of goes with getting help from the coach, but also from friends, and not being afraid to share that with friends and inviting help subconsciously. So like if anyone is offering help something, then inviting that help and being like, okay, yes, I will take this opportunity, especially when we talk about human design and like responding to invitations. It's like, yeah, allowing this to happen. And for example, the 1 year anniversary of 5 Minutes to Love, I wasn't sure I was going to do it. I was in a bit of paralysis mode in winter. I was doubting and I had a lot of fears holding me back. And then a friend of mine was like, how will you feel? It's actually a really good coach. So I recommend her. Like, at the end of the day, you're doing it for yourself. You're doing it for this project. So how will you feel if you go through this birthday without having done something? Will you feel okay about it? Like you don't care? Or will you feel disappointed? And I was like, then you do it. And then she said, I will help you whatever way you need help with. And then I started, creating content, and that just flew through. I just didn't really have to think. I don't even think I used to like the description of the event at first, and it's just like boom. And then I sent it to a few people individually, and people started signing up, and I was like, oh, okay, so
It's happening.
yeah, it's happening. And then as I went on, I just felt this endless energy within me, like create this and just really limitless creativity and like how I see the space becoming and all of that. Don't get me wrong, there's lots of things that I could have done better. And
It
will
was
in
a
the future.
beautiful event. I was there. So,
Thank
yeah.
you so much. Yeah, it was definitely, yeah, it felt like a realization. And I felt an army of people behind me, and not just the 10 people who offered help actually along the way. And every time someone said, do you want help? I'm like, yes. Even my brother messaged me 2 days before being like, I noticed it's sorry, book, like, do you need any help? And I'm like, yes, please. And I was like, I had, yeah, so many people helping me, but I had more. I felt like there was more energy behind me that was pushing me in that direction, like going, doing it.
You allowed it to happen. So it's also
Yeah.
about allowing. I guess this is
Yeah.
something that I also want to work on in myself, just allowing things to happen. Because when I'm just, no, I'm going to do things alone and because I'm strong and powerful, independent, blah, blah, blah. But it's sometimes you need to allow people in.
Yeah.
Especially, in human design, I'm the manifestor. So it also means I have this closed aura bubble. So if I want to have people in, I have to tell them, get in.
Yeah.
And just allow them in because when often they don't see it through this bubble and they don't even see maybe if I'm having troubles. If somebody notices and offers help, that's already like a huge thing for me because they're really seeing through my closed aura and closed bubble.
Yeah.
So allowing good things to happen to you.
Yeah. That's so true.
Not always like, why?
Yeah. And it shouldn't be a struggle. Yes, it's hard work, but it's like when things are a struggle, it's okay, give it time, or maybe just let it go. And I'm finding that with all the many projects I'm working on. Like, okay, this is, I also like to sit and wait and see what universe sends my way, to be like, okay, let me not be always in control and the driving force, which I can be as a generator, but it's like, let me wait and what messages are coming through, whether it's from people messaging me or asking about something or just something or an idea or a calling. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. I didn't know we were going to go that way.
Yeah, allowing.
Allowing.
Yeah, that can be like my mantra for the next few months.
Yeah.
Allowing.
I have a great song for that.
Oh, which is called allowing. Finally. Somebody has to be the one who allows me to be me, and of course, that somebody can be me.
Exactly.
Nobody else outside is gonna then, okay, Silja, you get to be yourself. I have to allow.
And allowing everyone else to be who they are. Like that's even another level, right?
Yeah, not forcing them into something that you want them to be.
Yeah.
I used to be like this in my relationship, like this a bit. I kind of always gotten on my boyfriend's, my ex-husband's nerves because I was like, hey, what's the big thing that you want to do? What's the big transformation? I was always like pushing.
Yeah.
But if that's coming from a good place because I can see that the person has a potential.
Sure.
They have all this power in them. It's like, what wanting more?
Yeah.
I want more. Why don't you want more? It's like you have this talent. So I was married to a physiotherapist, and he was pretty good. We also had business together, so maybe that's also not the best idea. But I was doing all the admin, all the accounting, all that stuff, and I was always the one increasing prices. And he was like, maybe you should increase the price. Who won't come? I'm like, you have a waiting list for 5 weeks. Of course they will come. And you need to value yourself more. I was just pushing all the time in a good way.
Yeah.
So I'm that person who's actually pushing.
Yeah.
But I guess now I'm also more allowing people just to be themselves. And if somebody doesn't want to grow the business and do that kind of crazy stuff, then it happens. But I used to be more of that person who was like, okay, let's do more. Let's show more. I can see the potential.
Yeah.
And if you have the potential, why don't you want to grow?
Yeah.
Some people just want to be left at peace.
Yeah.
So I'm also learning this, allow them to be at peace and allow them to just be. Like, in the present moment.
Yeah.
Not in the what's next mode.
Yeah. Always achieving. Yeah.
Because that's my thing. And I was also pushing this on the people around me. Okay, what's next? Where are we going next? Next. Okay.
Yeah.
So now it's just to be in this moment as well. I'm learning. I'm learning every day.
Yeah, same. Yeah, I think I was sharing with you, like when I'm in action or when I'm service, I'm like, yes, I'm exactly where I'm meant to be. And then when it's suddenly a moment of silence of space, I'm like, God, what am I doing? What am I doing with my life? Where is this going? I don't even know if like this success and no, it's like where, yeah. Hmm.
So yeah, just be. And if people want to find you, where can they find you?
Suppose they can find me on Instagram.
You're like, I'm
I
not sure. I don't want to be on there. Suppose, maybe, kind of. So
Yeah, I do have a Substack as well called The Subspace. Substack.
I can put the link in the description as well.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
And then 5 minutes to love. I do have a website as well. I go in on Instagram every now and then. The idea is to create a community of Instagram as well. So there's more really unified community. And then if anyone has an idea or a suggestion for events or collaboration,
You allow.
exactly, I'm allowing.
You allow into new opportunities and things. Yeah, beautiful. Thank you. Thank you.
So much. Yeah.
Oh, yes. Thank you.